Thomas Jefferson might just be the most important figure of the American Revolution. He was the brilliant mind behind the Declaration of Independence, the nation's first diplomat abroad, the first Secretary of State, the second Vice President, and the third President of the United States. But who was this man, and how did he shape the future of a young nation? Born on April 13, 1743, Thomas Jefferson entered the world on his father's prosperous Virginia plantation. His early years were marked by an outstanding education that began at the College of William and Mary in Virginia, and later he studied law under George Wythe. From 1767 to 1775, Jefferson practiced law in Virginia. During this time, he met and married Martha Skelton, a 23-year-old widow. Together, they had 6 children. However, Jefferson's personal life was complex and controversial. He had a 3.5-decade-long relationship with his wife's half-sister, Sally Hemings, who was also his slave. Jefferson fathered several children with Hemings, and in a rare act of manumission, he freed their children upon his death. In 1774, Jefferson's pen drafted an extraordinarily important document, the Summary View of the Rights of British America, which justified the Americans' right to self-governance. As a delegate to the Second Continental Congress, Jefferson was selected to write the first draft of the Declaration of Independence, finishing it in June 1776. At just 33 years old, his eloquent words laid the foundation for a new nation. During the Revolutionary War, Jefferson returned to Virginia and served in the Virginia House of Burgesses. He was elected governor and, while serving in the state legislature, wrote the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom. This statute later became the basis for the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Jefferson's influence extended beyond American soil. He succeeded Benjamin Franklin as minister to France before becoming President George Washington's Secretary of State in 1789. However, political and ideological conflicts with Alexander Hamilton led to his resignation in 1793. In 1800, Jefferson became the 3rd President of the United States after a fiercely contested election against Aaron Burr. This election marked the first peaceful transfer of power between opposing parties in Western history. During his presidency, Jefferson achieved significant milestones. He cut the nation's debt in half, protected U.S. interests abroad by sending the Navy to deal with the Barbary pirates, and doubled the size of the United States with the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. He also commissioned the famous Lewis and Clark expedition to explore this vast new territory. After his presidency, Jefferson focused on education. He founded the University of Virginia, designing its campus and serving as its first rector. This institution became the first secular university in the United States. Thomas Jefferson passed away on July 4, 1826, the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, and on the same day as his friend and fellow founding father, John Adams. Jefferson wished to be remembered for 3 things: authoring the Declaration of Independence, writing the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom, and founding the University of Virginia. His legacy endures through his profound contributions to the foundation of the United States, his visionary ideas on liberty, and his relentless pursuit of knowledge and education. Thomas Jefferson, a man of complexity and brilliance, remains an integral part of American history. It's a balmy summer day in 1787, and the air is thick with anticipation in Philadelphia. The future of a new nation hangs in the balance. Amid the heated debates and clashing ideas, one man steps forward with a vision that will change the course of history. That man is James Madison, and his idea, the Virginia Plan, the blueprint for the Constitution of the United States. James Madison, who would become America's 4th president, was born on March 16, 1751, at the Belle Grove Plantation in Virginia. But his journey to greatness began long before his presidency. Let's rewind to his early years to understand the making of this remarkable leader. Young James Madison was a studious and inquisitive boy. His thirst for knowledge led him to Princeton University, where he immersed himself in the study of history, law, and government. By 1780, at just 29 years old, Madison became the youngest member of the Continental Congress, setting the stage for his pivotal role in the founding of the nation. In 1787, Madison was instrumental in organizing the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. It was here that he presented the Virginia Plan, proposing a bicameral legislature with representation based on population in the House of Representatives and equal representation for states in the Senate. But Madison didn't stop there. He introduced the revolutionary concept of checks and balances, ensuring that no single branch of government would hold too much power. After the convention, Madison, along with Alexander Hamilton and John Jay, penned the Federalist Papers. These essays were crucial in convincing the states to ratify the new Constitution, laying the foundation for a strong national government. As a member of the House of Representatives in 1789, Madison championed transparency and accountability in government. He introduced the Bill of Rights, a series of amendments that guaranteed fundamental freedoms and rights, shaping the very core of American democracy. During his time in Congress, Madison met and married the vivacious Dolly Payne Todd. Dolly was not only a beloved socialite, but also Madison's partner in navigating the political landscape. Her charm and grace made her an iconic First Lady. In 1801, Madison returned to politics as Secretary of State under his close friend, Thomas Jefferson. One of his greatest challenges in this role was addressing the British impressment of American sailors, which eventually led to the Embargo Act of 1807. Madison's diplomatic efforts set the stage for his presidency. Elected as the fourth President of the United States in 1808, Madison's leadership was tested during the War of 1812. Despite the British invasion and the burning of Washington, D.C., Madison's resilience and determination helped guide the nation through one of its darkest hours. The Treaty of Ghent in 1815 marked the end of the war, and Madison's presidency concluded with the country on the path to prosperity. After leaving office, Madison retired to his Virginia estate, Montpelier. Yet, his influence continued to resonate through the principles he helped establish: checks and balances, judicial review, and the Bill of Rights. James Madison passed away on June 28, 1836, leaving behind a legacy that remains integral to American governance. James Madison's story is one of intellect, perseverance, and a profound commitment to the ideals of democracy. His contributions laid the groundwork for the freedoms we cherish today. Thanks for watching. Born on February 22, 1732, in Westmoreland County, Virginia, George Washington was first president of the United States. George Washington, the father of his country, a Virginia gentleman, a great soldier. He came from a prosperous family of farmers and was homeschooled until the age of 16. At 17, he began his career as a professional surveyor. In 1752, Washington joined the colonial militia, marking the beginning of his military career. He gained a reputation for his bravery during the French and Indian War, also known in Europe as the 7 Years' War. After the war, Washington returned to Mount Vernon, a plantation he inherited, and married Martha Custis, a wealthy widow, in 1759. This marriage made him one of the wealthiest men in Virginia. Washington's political career began in the Virginia House of Burgesses, where he opposed British taxes. By 1774, he was a leading figure in Virginia supporting the colonial cause, and was sent to both the First and Second Continental Congress. In June 1775, Washington was appointed commander of all colonial forces in the American War of Independence. He formed the Continental Army and strategized their movements and supplies. Despite initial setbacks, the tide turned with the American victory at Saratoga in 1777, persuading France to join the war on the American side. With French assistance, Washington led his troops to victory, culminating in the British surrender at Yorktown on October 19, 1781. After the war, Washington retired to Mount Vernon, but his country needed him again. In 1787, he was elected president of the Constitutional Convention and played a crucial role in the adoption of the new Constitution. In 1789, Washington was unanimously elected the first president of the United States. Leading the young nation, he faced numerous challenges, including establishing a new government and dealing with the emergence of political parties. Washington was re-elected in 1792 and maintained American neutrality during the war between Britain and France. In 1797, he finally retired from public life, setting a precedent for future presidents. George Washington died on December 14, 1799, at Mount Vernon. In his will, he freed his slaves, cementing his legacy as a unifying figure even in death. George Washington's leadership, both in war and in peace, established the foundations of the United States. He remains a symbol of perseverance, sacrifice, and the American spirit. It's a chilly March evening in 1770, Boston. Tensions are high. The streets are filled with the echoing footsteps of angry colonists and the sharp clink of British soldiers' boots. Suddenly, chaos erupts. Shots are fired, and the snow is stained with blood. This is the infamous Boston Massacre. Amid the turmoil, one man steps forward to defend the accused British soldiers. That man is John Adams. John Adams, the man who would become the second president of the United States, risked his reputation and career to ensure that justice was served, even if it meant defending the enemy. Why would he do such a thing? Let's rewind a bit to understand the man behind this bold move. Born on October 30th, 1735, in Braintree, Massachusetts, young John was a curious and determined boy. He loved to read and was particularly fascinated by the works of classical authors. His father, a farmer and shoemaker, instilled in him the values of hard work and education. By the time John entered Harvard College at just 16 years old, his path to greatness was already being paved. But life wasn't always smooth sailing for Adams. After graduating, he faced a tough choice: become a minister, like many expected, or follow his passion for law. He chose the latter, setting the stage for his lifelong dedication to justice and the rule of law. Fast forward to the Boston Massacre trial. Adams knew that defending the British soldiers was the right thing to do, despite the personal and professional risks. He famously argued, "Facts are stubborn things, and whatever may be our wishes, our inclinations, or the dictates of our passion, they cannot alter the state of facts and evidence." His brilliant defense resulted in most of the soldiers being acquitted, and it cemented Adams' reputation as a principled and fearless lawyer. As the American colonies moved closer to war with Britain, Adams' leadership and vision became crucial. He was a key player in the Continental Congress, advocating for independence and helping to draft the Declaration of Independence. But did you know he wasn't the one who wrote it? That credit goes to Thomas Jefferson, but Adams' influence and support were instrumental. And then there was his partnership with his wife, Abigail. Abigail Adams was not just his spouse, but his confidant and advisor. Their letters to each other, filled with wit and wisdom, give us a window into the personal sacrifices and emotional strength required during those turbulent times. After the Revolution, Adams served as the first vice president under George Washington, but the journey didn't stop there. In 1797, he became the second president of the United States. His presidency was marked by challenges, including conflicts with France and political strife at home. Yet Adams' commitment to peace and diplomacy left a lasting impact, particularly his efforts to avoid war with France through the XYZ affair. In his later years, Adams saw the fruits of his labor as the young nation grew. He lived long enough to witness his son, John Quincy Adams, become the sixth president of the United States. John Adams passed away on July 4, 1826, the same day as Thomas Jefferson, marking a poignant end to the life of a man who had given so much to his country. John Adams' story is one of courage, principle, and an unwavering dedication to justice and the American ideal. His legacy lives on in the very fabric of the United States. So next time you think of the Founding Fathers, remember the incredible journey of John Adams. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more fascinating dives into history. Until next time, stay curious.